going to give it a little swirl, and I can't wait to dig in. That is singing in my mouth. Every flavor. Hi, come cook with me. I'm Stella V. And today I'm thrilled to be showing you a shortcut for a classic dish. We're making chili. Along with our basic meat and beans, I like to add a chipotle pepper. That again helps to bring out the depth of flavor. And we have a lot of different seasonings, but they're all the warm spices. I have smoked paprika, chili pepper, garlic salt, and I've even got a touch of cinnamon. The other thing that I love to add to it is just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, because that again adds some depth of flavor that helps to build during the cooking in the Instant Pot. And I'd love to thank all my subscribers. And we've also hit a milestone today. We have 450 subscribers. I can remember when we started with just one of you. And if you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button and also click on that bell. You'll be alerted to our next video. Now I'm just adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the pot. We're going to hit that saute button and just let the olive oil warm up for a little bit. Once we've had the olive oil heating up for about a minute, we're going to add 1 diced onion. We're going to take our ground beef, and the oil is starting to sizzle, so I'm going to add our ground beef, and you can hear that sizzle. We're going to use our wooden spoon or spatula to just break the meat up as it's browning. And you can see it doesn't take long for it to start browning, and we'll continue to stir and break up the chunks. Ground beef is nicely browned. We're ready for the next step. I like to season as I go, so I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to the ground beef as it's browning. The garlic is adding a ton of flavor, and the onions are sauteing. This is when I like to add my peppers. Now the peppers are optional, but I think it adds a great deal of fresh flavor to the chili. That is 1 red bell pepper diced, and I've got a small jalapeno pepper. Now I'm adding the tomato. I've got 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and that adds a depth of flavor. I'm just going to stir that in. And I'm ready for the second application of tomatoes. I've got a tomato puree, a 1 18-ounce can of tomato puree, and that's going in. You can see how colorful that is. The tomato is starting to cook through, and the vegetables are also getting a nice softening to them. And now it's time to add all that wonderful flavor in our seasonings. I have a teaspoon of garlic powder. I've got a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of cinnamon. That might surprise you a little, but anytime I add warm spices like chili, I find a little cinnamon goes a long way. I have 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. I love that addition of a smoky flavor. And make sure we keep giving it a little stir. We don't want anything to touch on the bottom here. And the star of our seasonings is chili powder. You can add anywhere from 1 to 3 tablespoons of chili powder, depending on your taste. I have 3 tablespoons here because we like things a little spicy. Then I have my little secret ingredient, and I'm adding a couple of teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Anytime I want a real deep flavor in a beef dish, I add Worcestershire. You can see how beautiful that base is. We've got meat and chilies and all kinds of wonderful flavors and seasonings. And what I also like to add, and that's optional, is I put in a chipotle pepper. This comes in a little tin. I only use one, along with some adobo sauce. It gives a smokiness to that. A chipotle pepper is just a smoked jalapeno, and I add that. Now the rest of the can I simply package up in little tiny packages and put them in the freezer. It'll be ready for next time. And now we're adding 2 cups of beef broth. You can see that deep, rich flavor. It's a deep color, and all that deep color amounts to a lot of flavor in the finished dish. There's only a couple of things left to add to make it my chili, and it'll be your chili. I'm adding the black beans. I've got a 16-ounce tin of black beans. You can add any kind of bean, red kidney beans, pinto beans, but again, this is what I had available, and I do love a black bean. This next ingredient might surprise you, but I love adding a little bit of mushrooms to my chili. And for vegetarians, if you don't want to put the ground meat in, just put a lot more mushrooms, and you've got a delicious chili filled with rich, tasty flavors and a lot of body to it. And that's the chili. All we have to do now is give it another stir. We want to make sure there's nothing sticking to the bottom, because that always gets you into trouble with an Instant Pot. We want to make sure the brown bits are all incorporated into the chili dish, and give it a bit of a stir. We have all of that delicious, we've got seasonings and lots of fresh vegetables and lots of beans and ground beef. We're ready to put that Instant Pot lid on, and we're going to just give it 20 minutes under pressure, and you'll be amazed at the depth of flavor you can get in 20 minutes. And if you can't make the dish today, make sure you subscribe. You can make it another day that way. Click the link, add your email, and we'll send it to you immediately. Now the Instant Pot has counted down 20 minutes on pressure, and now it's going back up the other way. At the 1 minute mark, we're simply going to release the pressure. You'll want to make sure that you simply tilt your Instant Pot away from any furniture or cupboards while it's releasing its pressure. And of course, don't get too near it. Now all the steam has escaped. The button has dropped down, letting us know that it's very safe to open. That smells delicious, looks wonderful, and now we're ready to plate. I like to serve mine with a dollop of sour cream. The Mexican sour cream is really thick, so it's going to take me a while to take it out of the spoon. And I'm going to give it a little swirl, and I can't wait to dig in. That is singing in my mouth. Every flavor, the spices are so exciting. We're now in Mexico for the winter, and I am so looking forward to bringing you a lot of different videos on all the beautiful foods we find and recipes that will excite you. Hi, come cook with me because I'm Stella V. And if you like what you see, hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell me that you subscribed, and I'll reply.